third point that you made the best, that you could, one, it's a new skill that you can learn. So that's something else that you now know and you can do. That was very good. And as well, having the free food, because once you grow the vegetables, you're right, you don't have to go to the shops to buy the vegetables anymore. So very well done. Very good argument, Stella. And Kevin, you're next.
So, I will say that planting trees in my garden will like stop global warming because we need to save our planet, and also if we plant some trees or vegetables in our garden, it can be like, it doesn't cost anybody for us to take the vegetables or fruits, and the activities are very fun if we plant trees.
Very good. So your arguments were free food, which is correct. That's a good one. You also said that planting the trees and taking care of the garden can be fun. Very good. And I liked the new argument that you introduced at the beginning, where you said that it would be good for the planet to grow trees and grow plants and vegetables, because in today's day and age, it does seem like a very popular, it seems like a very popular thing to help the planet and take care of the planet and help put some trees back into the ground. Very good. So I'm going to bring up another whiteboard, and we're just going to write down all of these arguments that we came up with. So the first one that I remember, let me know if I miss anything. So the first one was free food by growing it yourself. We had learn a new skill. And it could be a fun hobby. Three, we had it rains a lot. So we wouldn't need to water much. Okay, were there any arguments that were made that I haven't written down here?
You have to plant plants or else you will be tree coasters. It is a normal one that is popular than the one.
Say that again, sorry, your microphone was very, very fuzzy.
You have to plant the tree or else you will be
so take care of the planet by planting trees and veggie plants. Very good, guys. So by working together, we've all managed to come up with a list of some fantastic reasons. And we notice with these reasons, with all of these reasons, they're all positive things. Not one of them is a bad thing about growing a vegetable garden. So by planting these trees, we get some free food once it grows. We get to learn a new skill, and it can be a fun hobby. If we're ever bored, we can go out and take care of our garden. If it rains a lot, we don't need to water the plants much, so we wouldn't be spending more money by watering the plants all the time. And as well, it can have a great impact on the planet. It can be a very good thing for the planet by planting trees and vegetable plants. So good work, guys. You're really starting to get the hang of this. That's terrific. Let's try that again. I'm just going to leave that up there for one more minute so you can have a look and copy it down if you want to. And then we're going to have a try at another. We're going to have a try at another argument. Okay. Now, our next scenario, you want to play a board game, but your friend wants to play a video game. How would you persuade your friend to play a board game? Stella.
So I will tell my friends that playing a board game in the garden, in the park, or somewhere in the nature or outside, it is a great activity because you can spend less time inside house, because sometimes when you are inside house, it sometimes feels like a prison or something. And also, if you come outside, there is sunlight. There is not much colors, only green because of the trees, and the other things are not much color. And playing a board game can help you to relax more better than playing a video game, because most of them are violent and you have to fight or something like that. Instead of living in the house playing video games, look at the eyes of the screen, it will make your eyes turn red, because some of them will play to the night. And maybe if you invite me, maybe I'll have a red eyes. And you too. It is very bad for health. So playing outside of a board game is more gooder than playing video games inside, making our eyes red.
Very good, Stella. You made some good arguments there. So playing outside, playing a board game outside can be a much more relaxing environment to play a game in, rather than just staring at a screen all day. We said, yeah, to get out of the house so we're not feeling so trapped. Very well done, Stella. Okay. Next up, we have Kevin. Kevin, what would you say to persuade someone?
I would said that playing board game is very fun, and if you watch the computer too much or play many many video games, it will damage your eyes. Instead, you can play some board games.
Very good. Very good. Thank you, Kevin. So, next up we have Ken.
In my opinion, I would say that playing video games is very bad for your eyes. Your eyes will be broken, and also playing board games is good for your brain, and you can come out of your house and know more about the outside.
Very good. So, an interesting point that Ken made is that playing a board game can be very good for your brain. It can help you develop critical thinking skills. So it makes you think about how are you going to play the game? How are you going to win? How are you going to beat your friend? So that was very good, Ken. I like that argument. Well done. Conan, you're up next.
I would say that you have to play the board game. It is extremely fun, and you should play. Once you play, and you will also want to play like me. Like, just come on here. Let's play.
Very good. So convincing your friend by telling them all the fun that they're going to have. Very good. All right, and Bo had his hand up as well. So what would you like to add, Bo?
So boarding game is more fun than the video games, because the reason video games are not good for the board games, because number one, if you play video games for too long, that means your eyes look like this, and because this screen is like a blue screen, that means you can see everything like the rainbow colors. And if you stay for too long or sit there, you broke the bones up there and make your eyes cannot see anything. And you should play board games. Board games can be good for families, friends, and anything like else. You can take anything.
Very good. So prolonged exposure to a screen can have bad effects on your eyes. So if you look at a screen for too long, you could damage your eyes over time. Very good. And also mentioning that board games are fantastic to play with your family and bigger groups of friends, so more people can participate. Very good job, guys. So let's do the same now for our board game activity. Going to share a whiteboard here. Let's think of all the reasons how we might persuade someone to play a board game. So first one, too much screen time equals damaged eyes. Stella had a fantastic one when she said, play outside. It's more relaxing. We also had, chime in here, guys, help me out. What were some of the other reasons?
It is you will have a healthy brain.
Yes,
What do you think?
good. Board games help your thinking skills. Very good. So number 4, we also had we can play board games with more people at one time. Thank you. Did we have any more reasons, guys, that we can think of? Here's one that we didn't think of, is that we could compromise and spend time playing both. So maybe we could say 1 hour board game, 1 hour video games. So we could come to a compromise where we do both, and that way we both get to do what we want to do.
Teacher, can you tell again,
Yes.
please? My computer had a sound error.
So could you say that again?
Can you tell again, please? My computer had a sound error.
You'd like me to say it again?
Yeah.
No worries. So I'll go through that list of reasons again. So number 1 is if you have too much screen time, you can damage your eyes. Number 2 is we can play a board game outside in a more relaxing environment with the sunshine. We can sit on the grass. It's very nice to be outside. Number 3, board games can help us with our thinking skills, because while our brains do think, that's obviously a normal thing for our brains to do, is to think, but there are some special skills that we can learn and develop by, if we learn the right way, we can learn to think in a much more effective way, have better ideas, we can understand things better. And that's all just practice, just learning the skills and practicing them. Number 4, we can play board games with more people at one time. So a video game on the PlayStation or the Xbox, we might have a 1-player game or a 2-player game, but we can play a board game with up to 6 people, I think. Some board games you can play 6 people at one time. So if there's a bigger group of friends, you can play a board game and we all get to play at the same time. No one's left out and waiting. And number 5, we could also compromise and spend time playing both. So we could play the board game for 1 hour, and then we can play video games for 1 hour. And then both of us get to do what we want. So those are just some examples of, and some really good examples, guys, of persuasive arguments. Now, I'm going to ask you guys some questions about what we just talked about. So let's have this conversation in the chat box. Okay, so where are we here? So which persuasion techniques did you find most convincing? So out of all of the reasons that we just discussed, which of those reasons did we think would be the most persuasive? What we have learned, no need to say good things, say things that can happen if you do not. Not so much Conan. So to persuade somebody is to by definition point out the good things that can happen if you do something or if you agree with an idea. So if you say the things that will happen if you don't do it, I mean, really, you just kind of be sitting there bored if you didn't convince someone to play a video game or play a board game. But if you were to point out the bad things that can happen if somebody doesn't do something, that's a different situation because that's letting somebody know of consequences. I'll write that word in the chat. So, like I've put in the message there, consequences are like a punishment for not doing something. It's very different to persuasion, even. So you wouldn't really use consequences to persuade somebody because persuasion is meant to be a soft technique for suggesting something, whereas mentioning consequences is more like, I don't want to say threatening, but it's almost like threatening somebody with, if you don't do this, this will happen, bad things will happen. So yeah, consequences are very different from persuasion, but it's good that we're asking these questions and saying these things to learn this stuff. Now, which of the arguments that we came up with did you think were the most persuasive? So I'm just going to put this up on the whiteboard here for a moment. So persuasion is like gently suggesting an idea along with the benefits of agreeing with it. So it's all good. Whereas consequences, I think I misspelled that. Consequences are more like letting somebody know the things that will happen if an order is not followed. So just in those definitions there, we already see a pretty big difference in the meaning of those words. So persuasion is based on suggestion, providing an idea and trying to make someone see that that's the best idea to go along with. Whereas for consequences, there needs to be an order made. And if someone has ordered you to do something, then they're not trying to persuade you because they're not suggesting it. They're saying this has to happen. So pretty big difference. Sorry, Stella, I just wanted to put that up on the whiteboard there just for a moment. But we're back to the chat box now, everybody. So let's have a think about all of the arguments that we came up with for those two scenarios, for growing a vegetable garden and for convincing your friend to play a video game. Now, when we talk about persuading our friend to do something or persuading our parents to let us grow a vegetable garden, it's fantastic that we're thinking of all these great ideas about what we could possibly say. But once we've got all of these ideas, we now need to think, what would I actually say to my parents, or what would I actually say to my friend to try and convince them? Because while some of these ideas are, well, all of these ideas are really good, we're thinking about how we would try and persuade our friend. We now need to think about what we would actually say, because an idea written down on paper and something that you would actually say to somebody can be two very different things. So, which of these arguments that we made for these two scenarios were actually convincing that we could say to somebody? So type it up in the chat for me. Which one you think is the most convincing? Are you doing Rubik's Cubes, Conan? So I'm going to put the first one in the chat. Planting trees can stop global warming. That's a good argument for maybe a debate, Kevin. That's a good argument for a debate, maybe, where we're actually going to give evidence and yes, where we're going to give evidence and we're going to speak like that for a debate. But maybe the global warming thing might be a bit too big of an issue for our parents to consider for us wanting to grow a veggie garden. So my most convincing argument would be for the board games. Oh my goodness. Thank you, Bo, for wasting all of that time for me to have to scroll that far down. So, for me, it's the compromise argument. Because at the beginning of the lesson, what were the two things that I said needed to happen to persuade somebody? There was number one, we need to point out the good reasons to do something or follow an idea. And number two, we need to tell the person what they stand to gain by following the idea. So, compromise, in my opinion, for the board game scenario, would be the best idea because it follows both of those rules. So we point out the good reasons of playing a board game. So we could go out and play in the garden, be out in the sunshine for a little while. We can practice and develop our thinking skills. And number two, by compromising, we need to tell the person what they stand to gain. So if we compromise, we get the best of both worlds. We get to do the board game and we get to play the video game as well. So we're both getting something out of it. I get what I want, my friend gets what they want. Therefore, the compromise would probably be the most convincing idea for me, at least. Okay. Whoa. Talk about your eyes going bad. I was trying to read that. You're trying to blind me, Conan. So, who else can think of in their opinion, what is the most convincing argument? Bruh. Yeah, I agree, Kevin. Bruh. I like spam too. It's very delicious. I feel the need to point out. I feel the need to point out that spam is actually a weird tinned meat product that you can see here. So, oh, not again, Conan, not again. Don't make me cut off your messaging abilities. Well, it's available in Australia and England. I know that much, but I don't. But I don't know which other countries it's available in. But it's quite popular. It's also called corned beef. But I know meat in a tin. It is quite weird, but it's oddly delicious. No, we're not raiding Conan. So. Okay, so to sum up our lesson, Oh my goodness. It's good to know that you like beef, Kevin. It's good to know. So, so just to recap the main points that we've covered today is that what are the two important things that we need to do to persuade somebody? So what are the two important things that we have to do to persuade somebody? Oop, I think my Wi-Fi has frozen. To me. So,
I am saying in the internet is red.
there we go. And for some reason, all the faces are on different names right now. I don't understand what's going on. I think my Zoom is freezing. But yeah, so good lesson today, guys.
Bye-bye.
For some reason, there we go. Kevin's back to being Kevin.
Okay.
Conan is still Stella for some reason. There we go. We're all back to normal. So, good lesson today, guys. No formal homework, but just keep studying those examples of persuasive texts. I'm just going to have a look in the Zalo group now. So where are we? Stella's writing. Oh, Stella persuasive writing. Yes, so there's no formal homework to complete for the class. The students are just to look up and read examples of persuasive texts to start to understand the language that they use. Examples of persuasive texts are advertisements, opinion articles from newspapers and websites, songs and poems, love letters, and watch some videos of debaters presenting arguments. So keep up with that homework, guys. And in our next lesson, we're going to start looking at the basics of persuasive writing text. So good lesson today. Thank you for your attention. I think I'm on my side right now. There we go. I'm back. Thanks, guys. I will see you next time.
See you on Wednesday.
See you on Wednesday, everybody.
See you. Goodbye, teachers.
Goodbye. So yes, no homework. There is some study to do. Bye-bye.
See ya. I love having no homework. It is supercalifragilistic. Let's go.
Remember, there is still some study to do, though. There might not be work to write, but there is some study to do. So do your study. See you, everybody.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, Din.